Hey, welcome back to Road Tripping with Rachel. I'm Rachel. Thank you so much for joining me here on this road trip. So, about 2 years ago, I posted a video about ancestral eating, what my thoughts were on it. I had gotten the book Nourishing Traditions by Sally Fallon, and I ate as close to ancestral as I could get on my budget at that time. My conclusions at the time were that, it's kind of expensive to eat that way, and as a single person, it was difficult. I have been recently revisiting that over the last couple of months, primarily because a lot of my personal life decisions about how I want to live, how I want to eat, what I want in my environment have been in the realm of ancestral living. Now, when I'm talking about ancestral living, I'm talking more about cutting out a lot of the things that would be considered like convenience foods, a lot of like harsh chemicals, a lot of like more like heavy duty medications, and really trying to utilize more local sources, as well as really utilizing the farmers market. Now, if you've been following for any length of time, or if you follow me over on my Instagram, you will see that I tend to do a lot with the farmers market, a lot more of scratch cooking. I have posted photos before of some of the products I make in my home, and the last several months I have decided I wanted to really revisit and try and really make a concentrated effort to adopt that lifestyle and just see how it goes, see how if I really live and eat this way, do I actually feel better? What about weight loss? How will all these things really affect me? And I will say on the weight side of things, it is a little harder because you're not denying yourself the whole milk, or denying yourself things like butter, fats, things like that. And growing up as a child of the 90s and 2000s, the idea of avoiding a lot of that is kind of a mental shift. But one of the things I've really learned, though, is that because you're eating things that are in higher fat, and because you're eating things, you are going out of your way to find things that are more nutritionally dense, you actually need less of it. So it has been a journey now in relearning what a portion size actually is, which I had to relearn this anyway couple years ago, of understanding what a true portion size was. But now, even with going the ancestral eating route, it's an even smaller portion size. So visually it's hard to adjust to visually. That is a little bit harder. I will say, though, now when I first tried this, I will say that was within a month to 2 months after I had moved from an area that was much cheaper to live in. So financially, I was trying to recover from the move. I was trying to figure out how do I live within my new budget. Now I've accepted a promotion at work. I'm very familiar with what my budget is now, and I have learned how I need to live in where I'm at right now. And part of that has allowed me now to be very strategic in what I go and I purchase at the farmer's market, learning to eat the things that are actually in season, learning how to make new and different things here within my home. Some of the things that I now make just all the time are, big one is bread. I've talked about this before, even when I first started my channel. I grew up baking bread. That was nothing new to me. Experimenting with sourdough was a bit new, but I determined that if I really wanted any sort of bread product, I should probably learn how to make it. So I don't have pasta anymore in my house, and I bake my bread pretty much every week, and whatever I have left over, I turn into croutons, or I will turn into some kind of like breakfast casserole thing, a strata. You know, I'll do things like that, so it doesn't go to waste. French toast, it's beautiful. I love French toast. So that's one of those things that I do. That includes like I bake scones, cookies. I've been experimenting with that, sourdough cookies. I don't really bake a bunch of goodies anymore. I love baking. I enjoy making cakes, and I can make pie. Pie's not my favorite thing to bake though, so I don't really have that running around. But I do a lot of those things. I have been making broths. That's something new that I started doing here within the last several months. Because you can drink broth and you feel really good. I have been going more with like brewing teas, loose leaf tea. I actually drank a cup this morning because I've had a little bit of a cough here with the changing of the seasons. And so I drank some spearmint tea and it was delicious. I really enjoyed it. Local honey, elderberry syrup have been some things that I've added into my like just overall routine. I've also been making tibikos or water kefir. I do have kefir grains to gear up to try making milk kefir. Haven't done that yet. This last night I actually made yogurt for the first time, so it was actually chilling today. I checked it actually before hopping on this video, and I used Greek yogurt as my starter, and it is not very Greek yogurt-esque. I mean, it just looks like standard yogurt. I did try a spoonful of it and it tasted fine, so I don't think it would kill anybody. But we're gonna see how that goes. The tibikos has been really good. I've made some syrups and things like that. I've made my own lemonade. I make sun tea, which I've done for years. That is nothing new to me. I've also added brown sugar. I've made my own brown sugar. I've got my own vanilla going right now. I've made two smaller bottles of it last year because I wanted to experiment. They turned out great. So I've been doing that. So a lot of things around those. I'm using my cast iron skillet. I grind my own coffee beans. I do purchase organic ones. Whole beans, so that way I can I don't roast them. I'm not that bougie, but I do like to have my coffee in the morning as well as my teas. And I know have been saving vegetable scraps to make like vegetable stocks, things like that. Some of the things that are non-consumables that I've been doing, I did attempt to make my own toothpaste. I've been using that for a few months, and at first it was a little weird to get used to because it doesn't foam quite, you know, like what toothpaste does. It doesn't quite do that, and so you have to get used to it. It's a little bit of a different texture, but very satisfied with my dental hygiene right now. I have also made my own laundry soap. I've been making my own cleaners. This includes like apple cider vinegar, and I also made vinegar with some orange peels, which smells amazing. Let me just tell you, it does not have that vinegary smell. I've made ginger bug as well. We've been doing that. The laundry detergent is great. I haven't had any adverse side effects to it. Clothes smell clean. They look clean. It gets rid of any stains. It's been great. A lot of that stuff have been things that I've been using. I've also put in a container garden this year. So I have some tomato plants, tomatoes, potatoes. I've got a pepper plant, spinach, and I've got green beans going. I also have some herbs. I've got basil, thyme, rosemary, and then I have Thai basil that I'm growing, and it's all still alive. I also have a plant behind me I have managed to keep alive for a year. I have dubbed it Lazarus because I'm pretty certain I have come very, very close to killing this thing several times over the last year. And then I recently have bought myself a new golden pothos. I happen to love pothos. I managed to keep one alive for several years that I got from my grandmother's funeral. But I have to, and I've also been really avoiding a lot of like medications and things like that. I was gonna take a medication, lots of issues with like my insurance and things like that, and that was kind of the push for me to just say like, I'm done with this. I'm going to see how this goes, of just really embracing an ancestral lifestyle as far as food goes, with what I can do for where I live at and within my budget. A lot of dairy products, it's like it's just kind of outside of my budget. So we're gonna make as much as we possibly can with what I can afford. I've been looking for a better source for like flour. I do pay a higher price for my flour, but I'm still getting that more from like Walmart, or like Trader Joe's. I'm looking around to try and see like, can I find something that's a little bit higher quality? And those have been some of the things that I've really been doing. I do have some bars of soap I'm currently using that I had made actually a couple years ago and put away. So I'm currently using those right now. I don't think I have any other major things that I've been making that's homemade, outside of like, like standard things like soups. Really trying to utilize like the farmer's market to get as many like fresh produce from there. Eggs, meat. There is a farmer that I really like to get my meat from, and they actually utilize butchers that like my family has actually utilized in the past, not necessarily my parents, but like my uncle. So a lot of the more locally grown things have been where I've been headed. And I will say, like, as I have really like embraced this particular like vein of lifestyle and like getting out of like a lot of the medications, my family likes to call me the family hippie. I just think that's really funny. One of my friends actually said, "You're not a hippie, you're a homesteader," and I'm like, yes, like that's probably like a more accurate statement. When I was little, I wanted to be just like a little Laura Ingalls Wilder from Little House on the Prairie, not the movies, the books. And I'm definitely heading in that direction as someone in their mid-30s, which is kind of funny. But I will say, like, I feel a lot better. My skin is looking much better. Although I've never had like a super horrible struggle with acne, I still would get it. I'm really not struggling with that anymore at this point. So it's not really an issue for me. My hair is very healthy. My nails are very healthy. I have noticed like the number on the scale is going down a bit very slowly, because part of that, like I said, has been like figuring out like what's the portion size, what do I actually need, understanding what I want to eat, and then like what is actually available as far as like what's in my fridge, shopping my fridge first so that way money doesn't go to waste, finding ways to get healthy like pre and probiotics into my diet, making sure like I'm not consuming like, because I love bread, I could just eat bread all the time. That's not healthy either. It doesn't matter if it's sourdough or not. So some of those things, like just figuring that out. But overall, like I do feel much better. I've also like being active, getting out, going. Some of the other things that I've really been doing has been really trying to get some sunshine. Basic healthy stuff that anyone would tell you like you really should do. I've actually been going to bed a lot earlier. Not that I've ever like stayed up super late to begin with, but I've been much more dedicated to being in bed. Like basically I go to bed at the same time I did when I was like 8, which sounds terrible. But yeah, I go to bed pretty early. Doing that. But like I said, I just feel so much better. And like, even though I'm trying to get off of like things like medications and embrace a holistic, whole foods approach to life, I do still go to the doctor and get regular checkups, just to make sure everything is the way it should be, and because my insurance covers it, and it's good just for, just as a checkpoint. And I can tell you my cholesterol looks really good, my blood pressure looks really good. I have been able to actually come off of anxiety pills, which is quite nice. like I was allowed to, I would have my prescription, then I was allowed to take as needed anyway. So I do have them in case find myself going into a situation that might not be, that we know will get my blood pressure up. And just as a precaution, I still have those, but I haven't needed to take any in a couple of months. So as a whole, like I'm moving in a really good direction healthily, which has made me much more willing to embrace this lifestyle, even though it's a little contrary to like what I grew up with. Well, I take that back. It is not a little contrary. It is very contrary to what I grew up with. And actually, like I let myself get something to eat today, and I was like, I don't think this was a good idea. So, yeah, like having revisited ancestral eating and ancestral food, I would say like it was a really good decision, and I would highly recommend like at the very least, like, you know, learn how to cook some basic things. And it does help your budget. I know that was something that I talked about like previously in the other video. Like I said though, newly moved, trying to figure out my budget. I should not have like attempted ancestral eating at that time. But having said that though, I have seen that like what I spend on food has actually greatly decreased because I'm paying more at that moment for it. I'm not going to waste it. So I do have things that are in my freezer. So I'm always going to be a stocker. That I have that Midwestern mindset. I am always going to be a stocker of making sure that there is always just something that's in the freezer just in case I ever need it. But you know, eating like what I've paid for allows me to get creative with my food. It allows me to have some fun with it, and like I feel good eating it. So because I know exactly what's going into it, and I know exactly what's going into my body at that point. I would highly recommend, you know, keep the basics, cut back on the junk food. You know, it's a lot of fun to get creative in the kitchen. It can be art. And you know, just embrace some of the more like simple, slow living hobbies, because it takes the load off your mind. And I say that like as I'm filming a video for YouTube. But putting the screens away can be quite helpful, and it allows you to be able, like I said, to get creative, to have some fun, and to just enjoy, you know, your food. And you also get to know more people too, because you're going to like the farmers markets and foods, you know, like market stands and vegetable stands, and you're going to all these different places, and you're getting a chance to see some like local artisans as well who do things. It's amazing the level of talent that is out there in your local community, and that you don't always know that it's there because you don't go to those kinds of places. So that's really all I have to say. I've gone kind of over on what my time normally is, but I hope you found this interesting, just to kind of get an update on like what I've been up to here these last couple of months, like behind the scenes. But I hope to see you guys all next time. Bye.